This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner. Here today, Andrea Tantaros, Jedediah Bila, political commentator and national spokesperson for the Libre Initiative, Rachel Campos Duffy. And today's hashtag One Lucky Guy co-host of Red Eye, Andy Levy, is here, and he is outnumbered.
I am.
Hey, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you too, Harris. It's
you
a little
ready?
bright, but yeah.
I was going to say before 3 a.m.
Yeah, no, this is weird. I was like, I can't figure out how to sit.
Oh,
Do I lean back? Do I cross my legs?
No man spreading.
Do I do this?
No man spreading.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like pensive.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll get comfortable.
Yeah.
Besides, it's more about what comes out of your mouth than really the way you sit.
Yeah,
What?
no, not really.
Okay,
No.
all right, let's move on. Good to have you. A White House summit on countering violent extremism, as they call it, is going on right now in Washington, D.C. President Obama is scheduled to deliver the keynote address this afternoon. We expect to hear him talk about discrediting the voices of hatred while empowering communities that are often targeted for recruitment by ISIS and others. That's what the syllabus says. The savages only ramping up their brutality at this point. New reports that they have burned alive some 45 people in western Iraq. And there's a video, which we're told shows Kurdish fighters in cages driven through Iraqi streets. It has been a bloody barrage of headlines following that mass beheading of 21 Egyptian Christians in Libya. And that's part of the story actually now, because ISIS reportedly could use Libya as a gateway to wage war in Europe. Former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld says a lot of Americans are in denial about how much of a threat ISIS really is. And it reminds him of something we've seen before.
It is a terrible thing that's happening in our world, and it brings back to mind a period before World War II where people said, I didn't know, or I was just following orders, or it's random. But when you systematically kill Jews and kill Christians and say that's what you're doing, it's not random. It's purposeful. And it seems to me a lot of the country is still in a state of denial about it.
Well, in denial and what now some are criticizing as tone deafness. Andrea, I want to come to you on this. You know, they planned the summit apparently last October. That's what we were told, because when the French March went on after the Charlie Hebdo incident, the attacks there, and all those people died in Paris, this was announced for February. So this was announced amid that crisis point. But they said, well, we rescheduled it from last October. And here we are at the summit. Nothing about the wording that I understand has really changed, because I still have my notes from then. So, but look at what's happened since then. So much has happened with these radical Islamists, although it's not really reflected in this.
Yeah, and what do you really think this summit's going to accomplish? I mean, the goal of politicians in Washington is to look like they're doing something, right? So they put together these summits with breakout sessions. I love this corporate speaker. It reminds me of my old corporate days. Forming positive pathways, best practices. Really? And if you go to Breitbart.com, they're doing some really good journalism, Harris. They're asking, who are the groups that are invited to this summit? And if you look at some of these groups, and I encourage everyone to go to Breitbart because they're trying to find out right now, the Islamic Society of Boston, the Muslim American Society, Breitbart has a very detailed, extensive report on these groups and how they could be potential front groups for the Muslim Brotherhood. Well, this isn't surprising, Harris. The Muslim Brotherhood that rose to power after Hosni Mubarak stepped aside is the original key group that fosters terrorism. And the president has had them not just to the White House multiple times, but had them front row during his Cairo speech. This is, if it's doing anything at all, it's legitimizing groups that do not have best practices in mind, at least for stopping terrorism.
Well, and you look at where they rose to power in Egypt and what's happening there. I mean, Egypt and Libya are two places in northern Africa that ISIS is obviously looking to target at this point. I want to bring in Andy Levy, who's joining us for the first time. It's so good to have you. And just get your thoughts on this, because, I mean, this has been in the headlines. I know it's something that you guys talk about on your show.
Yeah. Look, I'm all for fighting this war on all fronts. That includes hearts and minds. That includes looking into the conditions that drive people to think that blowing themselves up is a good option. But right now you have the juxtaposition of the U.S. hosting this summit with, as Andrea pointed out, you have stuff on the agenda like creating positive pathways.
Which is a good thing.
But yeah, but you have that going on. Well,
I mean, Anthony Robbins, I think, has done it at his summit.
No, absolutely. but you have that going on at the same time that reports are coming in of ISIS burning alive 45 people. The juxtaposition would be funny if it weren't so not funny.
Yeah. Well, some of the other wording we've heard come out of the White House and the State Department this week is, you know, perhaps there's a place for a jobs program. We've got a little bit of that. Let's watch Marie Harf from the State Department.
I'm not sure I would take a mulligan on this one, but I think he went on to say something I would agree with, that, look, in the short term, we are killing them, and we will continue killing ISIS terrorists that pose a threat to us. We're very good at that. But in the longer term, and this isn't specific to ISIL, military commanders, politicians of both parties, counterterrorism experts all agree that if you're going to prevent terrorist groups from spreading to other places and getting more recruits, you have to look at the root causes that can lead people to extremism. You have to do all of it.